Hey guys, my name is Amanda. Welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here today. If you are new to my channel, like what you see but have not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Also, giving me a big thumbs up really helps me out here on YouTube. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 15 of my favorite wood DIYs that I have previously done. So this is a compilation video, but hopefully there are several DIYs that you have not yet seen, or ones that will maybe you have seen but can spark your creativity again. So I really hope you enjoy today's video. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the DIYs. So we are going to get started with some easy and fun wood round ideas. The first one is bee inspired, and I absolutely love how it came out. Home is where my honey bee, and I'm going to take this wooden round from the Dollar Tree from the Crafter Square section and a couple of pieces of scrapbook paper. Now last year during the springtime I found this scrapbook pack at Hobby Lobby. It had several pieces of scrapbook paper, several die cuts, and a bunch of really cute stickers, and I got it 50% off. It was around $3 or so, a very reasonable price, so keep your eye out for that again this year. So to begin, I'm going to take the piece of scrapbook paper that I like the most and want to show the most, and I'm going to place it on top of my wood round. Using my fingernail, I'm going to go all the way around the edge of the wood round so I see where I need to cut. Once my circle is cut out, I am then going to cut into it so that I have two pieces and remove part of the width. This is what that should look like. I'm then going to use my glue stick to adhere those down, and I'm going to take my other piece of scrapbook paper and cut out a strip to place across the middle, again using that same glue stick. Here's one of the die cuts that came in the package from last year, and I'm going to use hot glue to attach my die cut to the side of my sign. I'm going to create a simple little bow for the top corner. Well, it's not a corner because it's a circle, but you know what I mean, of this wreath round. And I'm just going to tie my little bow in the middle tightly. Here's what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and glue it down and then take care of those little tails, making them neat with a dovetail, which again is just folding that little tail in half and cutting a triangle upward. Here's what it looks like after I use my Cricut to cut out the phrase, "Home is where my honey bee." I found that in the images on Cricut Design Space, but you could use stickers, Dollar Tree, rub-on transfers, lots of different ways to get those words on there. And we're on to our next DIY, which is also bee themed. And for this one, you're going to need one of Dollar Tree's new round signs with the beaded top and the paneling on the front. And then we're going to be using two of these beaded hearts left over from Valentine's Day. I am going to go ahead and flip my little round sign over, and I'm going to place the two hearts tip to tip on top of the sign. I'm going to glue them down using generous amounts of hot glue, but you could use a stronger term adhesive if you wanted to, like an E6000 or a super glue. This worked out okay for me. Flipping it back over, I'm going to paint the edge of my sign with this yellow color by Folk Art, and then I'm going to take this beautiful ribbon from Hobby Lobby. You can get it on sale right now, 40% off, and I'm going to create a big beautiful bow by looping it over so that I have two loops on either side like so, just folding it over. This is what I call my X bow, and once I get that done, I'm going to cut off the excess on the other side, flip it back over, pinch it tightly in the middle, and once I get it pinched, I'm going to use a piece of twine, but you could also use a pipe cleaner or a zip tie, whatever you have on hand. You just want this cinched in the middle as tight as possible. I'm not going to cut off the excess twine yet because I'm going to use this for another layer of ribbon, which I'm going to create exactly the same way, just a little bit smaller, and tie it right on there, tying tightly. I'm going to flip this over to the back and tie again. This bow is not going anywhere. And then I'm just going to tie on my tails, which is just another strip of ribbon that I bunch in the middle with that same piece of twine. Then you can go ahead and remove the excess of twine by just cutting it off and dovetail the tails of your ribbon, which just means you're folding your ribbon in half and cutting a triangle upward. Then you can give your bow a nice fluffing by just inserting your fingers inside of those little loops and puffing it right out. You'll have a gorgeous bow. I just attached mine to the top side of my bee here, and then you can go ahead and add some words to the front of this. I printed printed out kind words are like honey. It was an image on Cricut Design Space, but again, if you don't have Cricut, no worries, my friend. Dollar Tree has beautiful stickers. You can cut out shapes on vinyl from Dollar Tree. You can use stamps or whatever you have on hand. You can print out something on your computer and trace on the back of it. So many options to get wording or images in the middle of this. And I just think this little abstract bee is so adorable. You could add a little head and antennas if you wanted to, but I liked mine just like this. Please let me know what you think about it down below in the comments, and if you're going to recreate something like this or a variation of it. And now we're moving into the next DIY, where I'm going to show you how I made this gorgeous little home round. Here's what it looks like. It was so fun and easy to make, and it's very customizable. So originally I was going to use this beaded wreath from Dollar Tree as well as this home sign from Dollar Tree. I ended up not using the beaded wreath, but Dollar Tree does carry that. I spray painted my home sign with Rust-Oleum's Vintage Blue, and I stained my medium-sized wood round with antique wax by just rubbing it on and then off. I left a spot in the middle of the round where I did not apply the wax, just so I could apply my glue there, because I have found that hot glue does not stick very well once it has been applied on top of antique wax. I then put these two rounds together, and I am using Waverly plaster to go over my home word. Once I get my word all done, I'm going to use the Waverly plaster remaining on my brush to go around the smaller home circle, just with a little marks all along the side. Right now I know that looks a little weird, but it's going to all be blended in. This actually came out really pretty. I'm taking a damp rag that I had applied some antique wax to and going right on top of those little dabs of the plaster chalk paint, and I'm even doing it over my home word. Then I'm taking a dry paper towel and wiping everything off, the plaster and the antique wax, and this is what it looks like. Just sort of dirties up the edges a little bit in a stylish way. I'm also going to do the same thing around or across the middle of our home sign, just going over it lightly with that plaster paint, dabbing it off, and then going on with some antique wax just to get the look that I like. Again, totally optional. Now I'm just going to create a bow for the top of this. I had this ribbon in my stash from Walmart, and I'm going to cut a couple strips. One strip I will fold over to form my bow, and the next strip will be my tails. I'm going to bunch everything together and tie it tightly with a piece of twine, but of course you could use a zip tie or a pipe cleaner, whatever works best for you. Just remember, the tighter that you tie your bow in the middle, the better you can fluff it out. Once my bow is ready, I'm going to hot glue it down right there in the middle top of my sign. Make sure it is arranged the way that I like it, and dovetail my tails by folding them over and cutting a triangle upward. This just gives you a nice boutique finish. Then I'm going to take some of this boxwood greenery and I'm going to tuck it on either side of my bow, just using some hot glue to attach it down. You can do as much or as little as you like, but I just think this is really pretty. You could even use some eucalyptus or florals, really just whatever you think looks nice. But here is how I did mine, and I love how it came out. It is a quick, easy, inexpensive project that is very customizable to your paint colors, to your word choice, also to your bow choice. So I hope that you like this one. Okay, on to our next DIY, which is a little bit different than what I normally show on my channel, but I absolutely love stepping out of the box sometimes. So here's another one. You will need 2 wood rounds from Dollar Tree, the normal wood round and also one of those smaller welcome wood rounds. I'm going to paint the welcome wood round with Waverly plaster, and then I'm going to tape it off. I'm going to use this color of Folk Art chalk paint to paint the bottom. I believe this is seashell pink, and I'm just going to paint all around that welcome word. If I get any little bits of paint on the welcome word, then I can just go ahead and go back over it with Waverly plaster chalk paint. So once that is done, I can go ahead and remove my painter's tape to reveal my plaster color underneath, and I'm going to take these gorgeous transfers from Dollar Tree I'm going to lay them down on my wood round there and just kind of cut around where I need it to kind of end. If it hangs off the edge, that is okay. I can just take it off when I am doing this rubbing on of the transfers here. Then of course I'm going to put some more on the other side to make it match up and just cut off any excess. And then just easy peasy rub these on, remove the film. I do apply some there where there's kind of a line between the pink and the plaster paint, and here's what that looks like. Now going back to our larger wood round, which we have also painted with Waverly Plaster Chalk paint, I am going to apply some lines of this painter's tape from Dollar Tree by putting one strip in the middle and then using a strip as my spacer and putting other strips down equally. Then I'm going to use this color of cream coat paint and I am going to paint right over that painter's tape there and remove it, revealing these gorgeous stripes. I am then going to take the smaller welcome round and use hot glue to attach that right to the middle of this sign. I guess I had to turn it around for some reason, but just pressing down firmly, and this gives you kind of a multi-dimensional gorgeous sign for just a couple of dollars. I do lightly dry brush some plaster chalk paint over top of that blue to dull it down a little bit, and I will leave these colors that I used in my description box. But here is what this looks like. It took just a couple minutes to make this very unique round. Again, I am kind of trying to step outside the box today out of my normal style, but I think this is so fun and very customizable. The next DIY is using this wood welcome sign from Dollar Tree and a large 14-inch wood round from Hobby Lobby. You can get them 6 to a pack or 3 to a pack depending on the thickness, and if you get them 40 or 50% off, then they're very inexpensive. I took my wood round, I chose a thicker one, and I painted it with Waverly Celery Chalk paint. Now for the next step, I would normally use painter's tape. I didn't have any on hand, but I did have this roll of long skinny vinyl from Dollar Tree. I placed strips of the vinyl to section off the place that I wanted to paint, and I painted that with Waverly Snow White Chalk paint. I then removed my vinyl strips and I had a nice clean line. I then took my welcome sign from Dollar Tree, cut off hanger, and painted the whole thing with Waverly Ballet Slipper Chalk paint. I painted the leaves with Waverly Celery and that little pitchfork looking thing, and the pot with the Snow White Chalk paint by Waverly. I glued my welcome down right on top of that nice white stripe, and then I began to form my bow with some ribbon I had in my stash. I believe it came from Michael's on clearance last year, but I just looped it over until I had 3 loops on either side. This is similar to my Expo, but instead of having 2 loops, it has 3. I do fold it the same way though, and I secure it in the middle with a zip tie. You could also use a pipe cleaner or twine if you prefer. Just remember, the tighter you pull it, the better your bow will fluff out. I removed the excess of the zip tie and glued my bow down on an angle at the top of my welcome round, being sure to refluff once my bow was attached. I had some of these pink roses in my stash. I believe they were from Walmart last year, but Dollar Tree has gorgeous florals as well, and I'm just going to be gluing a couple of little roses inside of my bow in the middle, and then I'm just going to take some greenery that came with them and also some spare greenery I had in my stash, and I'm just going to glue that under the bow so it's kind of poking out a little bit, along with some more roses. I'm just kind of forming a swag that I think looks super cute. You may need to cut down your roses in the back a little bit so that that little base of the rose lays nicely onto your round, but here's what it looks like. I think it is absolutely adorable and very customizable to whatever colors you would like to paint your welcome round and whatever bow or ribbon you would like to use, as well as the floral embellishments. But here's what mine looks like, and I added a hanger with a piece of jute twine and just put a piece of ribbon over that for stability. And here's my gorgeous welcome around. I just love how it came out, but it is very customizable. And also, if you prefer, Dollar Tree does carry a wooden garden word that is similar to this welcome that you could customize your sign with if you wanted to do that. Okay, let's continue this wood round thing that we got going on. Here is another one using mostly Dollar Tree items. Of course, if you don't like cows for decor, you could substitute that image with any other image of your liking. Okay, so I have my image that I printed out on Cricut Design Space. You just type Highland Cow into images and you'll get several choices. I have 2 pieces of scrapbook paper that I liked from Hobby Lobby and also a wood round from Hobby Lobby. Now, Dollar Tree does sell some wood rounds. I couldn't happen to find one, but if you get a package from Hobby Lobby at 50% off, it is almost the same or relatively the same price if you break it down. Now I'm going to coat my wood round very heavily in this glue stick, and then I'm going to take the piece of scrapbook paper that I had cut to the size, and I'm going to cut down the middle of it, and then I'm just going to make it into 2 equal pieces like so that when I place it on my wood round, there is a gap in the middle which I can fill in with the second type of scrapbook paper. So here you can customize scrapbook papers any way that you like. I had just gotten a farmhouse packet at Hobby Lobby and decided to use these. So now I'm going to take beaded wreath round from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut off the tag and place it on top of my prepared sign. I'm going to use hot glue to glue it down. Now, at first, I was a little worried about the paper lifting. This really didn't happen. Only in one little spot did the paper lift, and I actually just put some hot glue between the paper and the wood round in the spot which the paper lifted up a little bit. And once I did that, this was all nice and firmly attached. And then you can go ahead and add in whatever image that you like. Again, I got this from Cricut Design Space. I just used some transfer tape to transfer it to the paper on the round. I will say, if you're going to be doing this, maybe fuzz your transfer tape a little bit so it doesn't stick to your paper too badly, but this worked out really well for me, and here's my adorable image. I do recommend going over that image and all of your scrapbook paper with some Mod Podge just to make it last longer and make it a little bit more resistant to the elements. And then I just formed a little bow with some Dollar Tree ribbon like so. I just wanted a small little bow to cover up in the middle of the circular beads where you can kind of see that wire. So I'm just going to tie my bow in the middle with some twine, but you could use a pipe cleaner or a zip tie, whatever you like. And then I'll be placing it down right on top of that spot to cover up the little place that I had just mentioned. Once that is done, you can manipulate your tails a little bit and get them to lay exactly how you want. Even tack them down with a little bit of hot glue if necessary. And I do like to dovetail my tails, which is cutting a triangle upward. This just gives a finished and boutique look. So here's what this looks like. I think it is absolutely adorable for just a couple of dollars. I love the contrast in the paper, and again, it's very customizable to whatever image and whatever papers that you should choose to use. Okay, so for this next one, we are going to take a Dollar Tree wood round and some Waverly plaster chalk paint and coat our wood round. Then we are going to take these adorable plant wall stickers. Sorry if you heard my dog just now. They like to start to wrestle every time I am voicing over. So we're going to take our plant wall stickers and choose one for the middle. And I did a small one on either side, made sure they were pressed down firmly. And then I found some rub-on transfers that I like and that I thought matched because I wanted this to have some words on it too. I'm just showing you some options here. So I cut out the word that says family is everything, and I applied that right under the middle image. I thought that looked so nice and cohesive. Once that was done, I took my greenery rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree, and I just took a few pieces of this greenery and applied some to the top and bottom of the round to add a little bit more decoration on there. And then I took this brown faux leather from Dollar Tree and I just cut 2 strips of equal width, about 1/2 inch or so, and I glued 1 strip to the bottom there right under our main images, and then one to the top. So they were kind of framing those images there. Here is what this looks like. And then of course I'm just going to take a scissor and trim off the excess as close to the wood round as possible. This worked really well for me, and this craft was just so fun, so easy. I think it has a really nice look to it, but it's very customizable as well. Now I'm just going to make a little hanger by cutting 2 equal strips. However long you want your hanger, just glue them together so you don't see the back of the leather, and then just glue that on the top there for your little decorative hanger. And here is what it looks like. Let me know what you think about this one, you guys. So jumping into the next one, sometimes I do like to purchase my wood rounds from Hobby Lobby. Dollar Tree does have a smaller version. Hobby Lobby has a couple of different sizes that you can usually get 40 or 50% off, and you can get a 6-pack for the same price as a 3-pack, but the 3-pack is thicker. So this wood round is one of the thicker wood rounds that come in a 3-pack. Again, I got it 40% off. Now, as for this buffalo check burlap, you can buy something similar most of the year, but I got this after Christmas for 75% off. It was a great deal, and usually it would be 50% off if you caught it on a sale. I cut 2 pieces that will go across the width of my wooden circle. I stained my wood round with this shade of Minwax, but you can use any shade that you like. Here's what it looks like, and then it's time for florals. These particular florals came from Walmart and maybe a mixture of Dollar Tree, but the eucalyptus and most of that lavender is from Walmart. You can get a big bunch for just a couple of dollars. So I snipped that all apart and I glued each individual piece right down to my wood round. First I placed it the way I wanted it and then came in and glued it. Now I'm going to come in and make my pocket by laying one of the strips across the wood round right on top of those florals, and I'm just going to use my cutter to make a rounded circle on the fabric, so when I glue it to the back it's not quite as messy. This isn't necessary, I just wanted the back to look as neat as possible. Now I'm coming in with my second strip and doing the same thing, just kind of rounding the sides and then flipping my wood round over and gluing this down to form a pocket. I placed my florals first because I thought that would be easier for me to get my pocket tight, but you can do it any way that you like. So customizable. You can also use burlap or fabric if you don't like what I used. And here's a ribbon that I'm going to come in with. This is from Dollar Tree. It's a beautiful crochet lace ribbon. I am going to stretch it across the first layer of burlap and the second layer of burlap. Now my layers of burlap, the checks do not match up. I thought it was cute that way and added a little bit of interest, but if you wanted your checks to match up, you could do that as well. Now I'm just coming in with a little bit more florals just to fill it out along the line where it meets that burlap. And now I'm going to create a bow by taking a piece of my buffalo check burlap, cutting it down the center to make it a little bit thinner. I'm then going to fold it over like so and pinch it in the middle to create a cute little bow. I'm going to tie where I pinched with a piece of jute twine, but you could also use a zip tie or a pipe cleaner, Chanel stem, whatever you like and works for you. Just remember, the tighter that you cinch your bow in the middle, the more you can fluff it out. I'm then going to cut off my excess of jute twine and fluff my bow, arrange my bow. Working with this stiff fabric does make a cute bow as long as you remember to pull it tight. I am then going to attach it to the top of my wood round at an angle the way that I like it and continue to arrange it. I'm also going to add a little bow with that crochet lace fabric right in the middle, and here's what it looks like. I think that this is absolutely adorable, so customizable, and it looks super cute with my buffalo check coffee bar. So this next DIY, I kind of struggled with sharing it even when I first made it, and then I struggled with putting it in this video only because the banner or ribbon that I used on top of the wood round looks kind of crooked on camera. Now in reality it is not. In person it looks absolutely gorgeous. However, on camera, because it is cotton or fabric, it does look kind of crooked. However, this DIY is gorgeous, and I believe that you can get tons of inspiration from it, even if you don't use ribbon or fabric across the top. This one is also fairly easy, but comes out so beautiful and is very customizable. I grabbed some larger wood rounds at Hobby Lobby. Again, if you get them 40% off or 50% off, I actually got these 40% off. You can get a really good deal on them, and they're very inexpensive. For these, I opted to get less in the package, but thicker ones. You can also get 6 in the package that are a little thinner. I stained my wood round, and then I placed an image that I printed out from Cricut Design Space by just typing in cow. This is what I came up with. So I weeded it, and I'm going to place it down on top of my wood round. Again, if you do not have a Cricut, you could use various different ways to do this. You could use a stencil. You could even cut vinyl with scissors into a shape that you like and place it down. But ultimately, you just want a design that you like to use as a stencil placed down on top of your wood round. Now, if you're having trouble getting this to stick, you may need to sand down your wood round a little bit, sand down that stain, which is what I had to do to get my cow stencil to stick. I then painted over it with a generous coat of my Waverly Snow White chalk paint, and we're going to want to remove the stencil before the paint is completely dry, about 3/4 dry, I would say, just to make sure that you can get the stencil off okay. I used a weeding tool and I just pulled it off in pieces, and this just worked out so well. I do recommend painting over top of your stencil with a sponge brush, but if you don't have one, a regular brush works out fine, like it did for me. I then took my Dollar Tree sanding block and sanded over my entire wood piece just to mute everything and kind of blend all of my little edges there. And here's what that looks like. I have this ribbon from Hobby Lobby last year in the spring section. It's actually called a garland, and I have my scissors and rotary tool that I'm just showing you. I actually just got them from Walmart, so I was really happy about that. But you can use either one to cut this piece of ribbon or garland. This is what I chose to put over the top and bottom of my wood round, but you don't have to do this. You could paint a stripe if you prefer to do that. You would just place down masking tape and with a little space in the middle so that you can paint in the middle of that space, remove your masking tape, and have a nice stripe. But this is what I chose to do, and then I chose to put a bow on there with the same Dollar Tree beautiful ribbon that has a lace on it. I just crisscrossed over for one of my classic little X bows where I have 2 loops on either side, and then I kind of set it down so I could go ahead and grab my tails. For my tails for this particular bow, I just took a long strip and folded it over and then cut it down the middle so I had 2 pieces of equal length. I crisscrossed those in an X fashion, and then I put my bow on top. I made another bow with this little garland ribbon that I've been using, and then I zip tied everything together. You will want to pull your zip tie as tight as possible because the tighter you pull your zip tie, the more you can fluff your bow out. I am then going to be going around the middle of this bow with another piece of that garland ribbon to cover that zip tie and clean everything up nicely. So you just glue it down and then wrap around and glue down the other end. Just make sure to pull this piece tightly so you don't have any bulging or bunching. That is done, you can trim off the excess and you'll have an adorable little bow to attach to your wood round. Now, since I used that ribbon garland, I'm going to be attaching my bow right on top. But again, if you choose to leave it plain or paint a stripe, just place your bow however you like it. I did dovetail the tails of my bow by just cutting a triangle upward on each one to give a boutique finish. And here I'm just hot gluing the bow right onto the project where I think that it looks nice. Now I'm just going to take some jute twine and wrap it around my finger several times to make a smaller bow that I can place right in the middle of that larger bow. I thought that looks nice and gave it a farmhouse touch. Once that is done, I'm taking another piece of jute twine that is doubled over and tying it so that I will have a hanger for the back of my project. You just glue it onto the back and then you have a nice hanger for your project. Here's what it looks like. I think that it is absolutely gorgeous and totally customizable to your colors. And you could even change that shape in the middle if you wanted to. Okay, let's jump right into some wood organization. For this idea, we're going to make a awesome little coffee bar or craft storage using this gather sign from Dollar Tree and some wooden crates. So I grabbed this gather sign. It is really nice. It's already framed out and has the word in the middle. It is from the Crafter's Square. And I also grabbed 9 of these crates. Dollar Tree has several different kinds, but I just laid them out. Here's what my 9 look like. I'm going to be gluing together 3 rows of 3. I'm just using hot glue, but I would recommend wood glue or a super glue. So I just hold them together until they're nicely adhered. I'm going to do this 3 times, and then I'm going to take one of my sets and flip it upside down, attaching it to one that is right side up. I do remove all the stickers off of the bottom, and then I'm going to put glue on my last set and set that right on top of the set that's flipped upside down like so. So you have a front and a back, and your back is double stacked. I'm going to stain my wood with Waverly Antique Wax by rubbing it on and rubbing it off with a damp paper towel. Next, I grabbed up my gather sign and I painted on some antique wax on the gather word and then rubbed that off as well. But you could customize this and use paint, whatever you like. I thought this sign was so beautiful and already framed and already had the word on it. It was just so easy. I also went around the frame with the antique wax, wiping it on and off as well so that my stained look matches the gather word. But again, customize this any way that you like. So here's what this looks like. Next, I had 2 pieces of paint stick that I had used in a previous project. It really doesn't matter how long they are as long as they are the same length. I attached them to the back of my crates, and then I attached them to the back of my gather sign with some hot glue as well. Again, you can have the gap between your crates and your sign as high or as low as you want it, just depending on the length of your paint stir sticks. Now I'm just dry brushing over my crates with some Waverly plaster chalk paint. You can do as heavily or as light as you want. I also went over my gather sign just to tie everything together. I think that this is so pretty, and I love how that it looks. Again, very, very customizable. You could even add more crates to this or less, just depending on the size that you want. It's perfect for a coffee bar or even to hold small decorative items. The sky is really the limit. You could even use it in a crafting space to hold crafting items. Okay, so for our next DIY, it is this cute little K-cup holder or a decorative shelf. There's many uses that you could get out of this DIY, but I'm going to begin with 3 of these little boxes from Dollar Tree with tags. Now they come in a small and a large size. I decided to use the larger size, but you could make another one of these that's a small size for next to it, or you could make a couple of these sets and glue them together for a larger shelf. The sky is the limit. I also found these wall shelves at Dollar Tree, and I removed the rope hangers. I flipped one of these shelves upside down and I spaced out my 3 wooden drawers just to see how I wanted them. I used the other shelf to make sure that they were straight. I'm sure there are better ways if you're really worried about them being straight, but I just did this and eyeballed it and it turned out just fine. I used hot glue to attach these, although I do recommend using a super glue or an E6000. Hot glue worked for me for video purposes and my shelf seems to be pretty sturdy. Once I got all 3 drawers glued down, then it was time to attach the other side. I just added some hot glue to the middle of each one of my drawers, and then I placed the other board on top of it. So here's what that looks like. And I do take some tacks, and we painted them with antique wax so that we could place them in the holes of those boards. Unfortunately, the antique wax rubbed way off, but I do think that these tacks look really cute in the holes. We just snipped off the ends and hot glued the tacks down. And here's what it looks like, a beautiful decorative piece, or it is perfect for K-cups or any small items. I just think it's another take on a tiered tray. Now I'm going to share another organizational shelf that we made using Dollar Tree items. I'm going to use 3 of these Dollar Tree frames. Originally I was going to use 4, but I only used 3. I had taken the backs out of them. I'm going to use some Dollar Tree wood planks, some craft sticks from Walmart, the jumbo craft sticks that is, and 6 of these Dollar Tree crates. The L-shaped ruler is great for making sure things are straight. You also want to make sure to pull the tabs out of the back of your frames. Then I'm going to paint these frames with Waverly Plaster Chalk Paint. And again, these were the long, skinny frames from Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to cut down my jumbo craft sticks to fit inside the back of these frames. It will take about 10.5 jumbo craft sticks to fill up this frame. Once all of my pieces are cut for all 3 frames, I'm going to go ahead and stain all of those pieces with Waverly Antique Wax and allow them to dry. I do stain both sides so that way this has a clean and finished look no matter which way you are looking at it. I add Gorilla Glue gel to the back of my frame and then hot glue to either side of these craft stick pieces and fill my frame with these craft stick pieces. I was able to get 2 pieces out of each stick, so you will only need about 16 sticks, if that makes sense, because we have 30 pieces and you get 2 from each craft stick, and then we also need a couple of smaller pieces. So I do distress over those wood pieces with some Waverly Plaster Chalk Paint. Then I paint my 6 crates with Waverly Plaster Chalk Paint. So here is what I am working with. I've also stained my 6 planks with Waverly Antique Wax. Now I'm going to turn one of my frames sideways, and using a mixture of hot glue and this Gorilla Glue, I am going to glue 3 of these wooden pieces to the inside of this frame. So I have one in the middle, one on the top, and one on the bottom. I do the bottom and the top first and then just glue down the middle one. So there is a little lip on the inside of this frame that this fits on perfectly. Now I'm going to take another frame and turn it around so that I can glue the other end of these wooden pieces inside of that frame the same way using our hot glue and Gorilla Glue gel. I'm going to make sure that everything is firmly in place and as straight as possible. This is not perfect, but I think it came out pretty good. So once that is all done, then I'm going to begin to add my little crates by adding some Gorilla Glue to the bottom of my bottom plank and then some hot glue to the bottom of or back side of my crate and also along the sides there like so, where the side of the crate connects to the side of the frame. I'm going to do this same process for all 3 of my crates so that this shelf has 3 shelves. Then I'm going to go ahead and build the next section by taking 3 more of those wooden pieces, attaching it to the outside of our frame on one side, and then taking another frame and turning it so that the other side of these wooden planks is on the inside of that frame, like so. It probably makes a lot more sense watching. Then, of course, we'll have 3 of those wood planks glued down, and we'll actually do the exact same steps of also gluing our wooden crates to those wood planks until we have 6 crates on here. Showing you, if you wanted to, you could use these long jumbo craft sticks. If you had a little bit of glue in the corners that you wanted to clean up, that could just kind of give you a fresh side. But I took these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree and I went ahead and put them on these boxes. This is actually for my daughter and she picked out these rub-on transfers, so I just used a popsicle stick or a craft stick to smooth them on, and this is what it looks like. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. I kind of staged it with some succulents in it. My daughter's going to use it for her hair ties and just some skinny small things. So here's what this looks like, and I hope that you like it. Okay, let's jump into some wood ladders. These are both easy and inexpensive to make, and I am going to begin with this gorgeous farmhouse style ladder using Dollar Tree items. So I began with 1.5 of these long skinny MDF signs from Dollar Tree. One is split in half using my miter saw, and then I just cut an equal sized piece off of another long skinny MDF sign. Then I took these 4 wooden garden stakes that you can find at any hardware store, craft store, and I believe, and I cut off that little pointy tip, and then I'm just going to be attaching these wooden pieces into 2 sets of 2. I am then going to take my long skinny NBF signs. These are going to be the shelves on my ladder, and I'm going to use hot glue and Gorilla Glue, not directly on top of each other, but side by side, to give me a temporary and a long-term hold. I'm going to adhere one of these right between the middle of those 2 long wooden stakes, and then I'm going to do one toward the top and one toward the bottom. I did not give measurements, as it really depends on how large you want your ladder to be. Dollar Tree does carry these MDF signs in a variety of sizes. Now, once everything is put together, I paint the entire thing with a coat of Waverly Plaster chalk paint. Then I take this Dollar Tree trash can, and I'm using my little wire snippers to remove the top rim and also that bottom circle. We're going to set the bottom aside because we will be using it. Now I'm just going to place this trash can piece on top of the back of my ladder. So just decide what you want the back to be, and I'm just going to fold over the sides of this piece so nobody gets jabbed or stabbed with them. And I'm just going to take my husband's stapler that I'm not very good at working, and I'm just going to staple this down onto those wooden and MDF pieces. Then, of course, I'm going to staple the top, the bottom, and the sides. And I will repeat the same process with another piece of that trash can. They can overlap in the middle because when you flip it over, you will not see that. And of course, I cut off any excess and fold the pokey pieces down. Now I'm just taking a beautiful piece of ribbon that I had purchased at clearance Hobby Lobby last year. It says Live Simply, and I just cut that piece and put it right on that middle shelf. Then I'm taking some wire jute twine from Dollar Tree. Sorry, I almost said Walmart. And I'm just crisscrossing it over, and I'm going to do that on each part where these shelves meet on the sides, those wooden pieces. Now I decided it was easier to use rope, so I did just use the wired jute twine on one spot, and then I just went around with some pieces of rope to create X's on all of the other places. Now I'm taking the bottom of that trash can, and I just placed it right on top of that trash can in the top portion of my shelf, and I just push it through because there is one layer of those little spiky things that I can push through and fold around the back of the piece that is on my ladder. So hopefully that makes sense. But once I have those little pieces folded down, it hooks it on there, and I just added a little bit of hot glue to adhere everything. That is done. I'm just going to take some of this beautiful greenery that I got at Hobby Lobby, 50% off, and I'm just going to go around this wreath form in a circular motion, just gluing down little pieces and tucking them down into those little wire holes, and this is what it looks like. I think this is so pretty. But of course, like all of my DIYs, it is very customizable and you can change it up to suit your fancy. Okay, let's jump into the next DIY. I'm going to share with you this gorgeous farmhouse style ladder that I made using mostly Dollar Tree items. So I began with these 4 long skinny Dollar Tree signs, 2 6-packs of Dollar Tree wood planks, 3 wooden dowels, which I actually purchased at Walmart, but Dollar Tree does have wood dowels, some wooden craft sticks from Dollar Tree, and some optional farmhouse animals, which I actually purchased at Walmart. To begin, I'm taking 2 of these long skinny signs and gluing them end to end using hot glue and Gorilla Glue mixed. I do that twice, and I paint both sets with Waverly Plaster chalk paint. gather my wood planks and my popsicle sticks, I am going to create sets of 2 of these wood planks by using 3 popsicle sticks on each to adhere them together. I use hot glue on the popsicle stick and just place it where the seam meets and connects these 2 wood planks. Once I have all 6 of my sets, I am going to go ahead and paint them black. I only had a small amount of Waverly ink chalk paint, so I first put a coat of apple barrel granite, allowed that to dry, and then went over that with my Waverly ink chalk paint to make these nice and black on both sides. When I am completely done with that, I can go back to my long skinny sides of the 2 sets of 2 signs glued together, and they have been painted with Waverly plaster chalk paint. Now I can begin arranging. I am going to need 3 of these rungs, or our shelf bases, on the front side of our ladder. So I just arrange them, making sure one is toward the middle, and then I have a top one and a bottom one like so. Then I'm going to glue them down onto our sides, alternating hot glue and Gorilla Glue for a permanent and temporary hold. So the hot glue will hold this until my Gorilla Glue dries. I'm going to do this on all 3 of these pieces here and allow them to set for a minute before I move on. I'm just making sure that they are straight with hot glue. You have a couple seconds of grace to wiggle things around and make sure that it is exactly how you want it. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the back side, making sure that these planks line up with the planks on the front side. I'm just doing my very best there. So now I'm going to take the dowel rods that I'm going to use. These farmhouse animals that I decided to use, again, these are optional. And I believe I said that I had purchased them at Walmart, but I don't think that's true. I purchased them at Hobby Lobby. Sorry about that. But again, these are just an optional decoration. Dollar Tree does have lots of things that you could use to decorate this with. And I stain these with Waverly Antique Wax. Then I'm just going to go ahead and glue them to the wood planks on the front of our ladder. So I do the pig and then the rooster, and then down at the bottom I do the cow. But again, there's so many different things and different ways to do this. It's very customizable. So my dowel rods are stained with Waverly Antique Wax as well. And I'm going to go ahead and glue one dowel rod beneath each of my little wooden planks, and that way you can hang a dish towel or whatever you like off of that, making this even more functional and multi-purpose. Now, I'm sorry I didn't mention it. This was kind of an afterthought, but I did use some large paint stir sticks from Walmart. I used about 2 of them, and they come 3 to a pack for about $1. I stained them with Waverly Antique Wax, and then I grabbed up 6 Jenga blocks that I had on my stash from Dollar Tree. I glued one on either side of these paint stir sticks to add a little more surface area to glue onto the sides of my ladder so that this can create a little shelf for the top of each rung, and also you won't be able to see the inside of that back layer where those popsicle sticks are. So this kind of covers that up, and it also gives us even more surface area that we can place something on, and I just think it looks really cute. So I'm just putting some hot glue on and attaching all 3 of those, and this is what our ladder looks like. You can set things on the shelf. You can hang towels off of those little dowel rods. I just think that this is so cute, so functional, and for just a few dollars, I honestly am a little bit impressed with myself. I try not to toot my own horn, but this one is pretty cool. So toot. I hope you guys like it. And now we are moving into our last idea, which is actually a double-sided sign. Really quick and easy. One side is going to be this Be Happy sign. So I took this wooden plank from the Dollar Tree. It is from the Crafter Square section. And I also got this Be Happy wall sticker. I am going to remove the twine hanger at the top of my sign, setting the twine aside, and then I'm going to paint my sign with Waverly plastered chalk paint. paint. I am going to remove this Be Happy sign from its backing, and I'm going to just place it down on top of the prepared wood plank here, pressing it down firmly to make sure that it is adhered well. Now I'm going to go back to that twine hanger and I'm going to apply some beads to it. I actually got these beads from a different garland from Dollar Tree. I'm going to mix together a couple of paints to get the color that I like, and then just use a Dollar Tree stencil brush to brush this color on top of my wood beads. This is the easiest way that I have found to paint them. Next, I'm just going to replace this hanger back onto my sign, and then I will be complete with this side of this wooden sign. I love how it came out. So quick, so easy, and so adorable. You can easily remove those pink beads if you want to display the sign on the other side and do not want those pink beads visible. So here's what the other side looks like. I am going to use some Dollar Tree wallpaper. Now you're going to need some Dollar Tree poster board stickers, or you can use your Cricut, whatever you like, but you will need to cut a piece of this wallpaper to size, and then you'll need another piece along the bottom as it's not quite long enough, but I did try and match it up as good as I could so you can't really tell. Then I'm just going to use my poster stickers for my H, my M, and my E. I am not going to use the O, as I have another plan for that, but I'm just trying to get these letters as straight as possible. I do use the sticker sheet to make sure they're straight. Now I had these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree. I actually had a few scrap pieces from a few different pages that I had used, but I love these little eucalyptus, and I'm just going to place them in a way so that I can form an O. So I'm just kind of piecing them together, but just rubbing them on and removing the backing, and just continuing to do so until I have a nice little O. So now my letters spell out the word home. So here's what that looks like. Now I'm just going to cut a couple more of these rub-on transfers so that I can place 3 on the bottom so that they look like they are sprouting up. And then I'm going to place 3 on the top so that they look like they are hanging down. I just thought that this was really cute, but if you don't like these rub-on transfers, Dollar Tree has a whole bunch of different ones that you can choose from. And here is a quick and easy double-sided sign. I absolutely love it. Again, it's so customizable, but you can put this together in just a few minutes and have 2 really nice signs to share. Thank you so much for stopping by today, friends. I really appreciate you. If you made it all the way to the end of this compilation video, you are absolutely amazing. Leave me a flower in the comments so I know you made it all the way to the end. Once again, please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing if you haven't, and take care, friends. I really appreciate you. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon.
You can subscribe to my mom's channel, and thank you for watching today's craft, and stay safe.